So, you're dreaming of a homestead. You can probably see it now, right? Green pastures, a nice sturdy barn, and of course, your very own herd of cattle grazing out in the field. But here's the thing. That perfect picture all hinges on one single massive decision. Choosing the right breed. Pick the wrong one and you're in for a world of wasted money and just constant headaches. So today, we're going to cut through all that confusion. We're going to break down 6 of the absolute best beef cattle breeds to help you find that perfect match for your land and for your goals.
So, what even makes a homestead cow perfect? Is it all about getting the best tasting beef? Or maybe the biggest animal you can find? Or hey, maybe it's just the one that's easiest to handle? Well, as we're about to see, the real answer, it's going to be different for every single person because it depends completely on your specific situation.
Okay, this right here, this is the single most important idea to get your head around. The whole goal isn't to take an animal and try to force it to adapt to your place. No way. It's about finding the breed whose genetics are already a perfect match for your climate, your type of pasture, and how you want to manage things. It's all about working with nature, not constantly fighting against it.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we'll cover the 4 key things you got to think about when choosing any herd. Then, we'll jump into our 6 breeds, looking at them in 3 pairs: the classics, the specialists, and the powerhouses. And finally, we'll wrap it all up to help you make the absolute best choice.
So let's start with the foundation. I mean, before we even get to looking at specific breeds, you need a way to think about them, right? A framework for your decision. These are the 4 essential things every single homesteader has got to consider.
First up, temperament. Are they calm and easy to be around, or are they going to be testing your fences and, frankly, your patience every single day? Second, feed efficiency. How good are they at turning grass into beef? This one's huge because it hits you right in the wallet. Third is space. Do they need wide open country, or can they be perfectly happy on just a few acres? And finally, climate adaptability. A cow that loves the Texas heat is probably not going to make it through a Minnesota winter, and you got to plan for that.
Okay, let's dive into our first group, the classics. I guarantee you've heard of these two. They're some of the most popular, most reliable, and most recognizable beef breeds on the entire planet. For a lot of folks, these are a fantastic place to start.
Of course, we have to talk about Angus. They're basically the world standard for premium beef, famous for that incredible marbling that makes for an amazing steak. Their temperament is calm and docile, which is just excellent for beginners. And they adapt pretty well to most climates. But here's the thing you have to watch out for. If you put them on really rich pasture, they can get a little too happy. They get over-conditioned, which means you might end up with a much higher fat finish than you were planning on.
And then you've got the iconic Hereford with that classic red and white coat. This breed is basically built to be tough. They're phenomenal at turning grass, even not so great pasture, into really good beef. Plus, they're known for being super family-friendly and really fertile. The main watch-out, though, is their eyes. Because of that light-colored face, they can be susceptible to eye problems, especially in sunny areas. So making sure they have plenty of shade is absolutely crucial.
So, when you're looking at these 2 classics, it pretty much boils down to this. If your number 1 goal is that top-tier, premium, marbled beef that everyone's looking for, Angus is your go-to. But if you're prioritizing an incredibly hardy, low-maintenance animal that just thrives on grass and is famously gentle, well, the Hereford is probably your perfect match.
All right, let's move on to our next pair, the specialists. These 2 breeds are perfectly suited to solve some very specific problems you might have on your homestead, whether that's really tough, dry land or just not having a lot of space.
The Texas Longhorn. I mean, what an American icon, and for good reason. This breed is the very definition of self-sufficient. They're incredibly hardy, super disease-resistant, and they can thrive on sparse bits of forage that other breeds would just turn their nose up at. They're also known for having exceptionally easy births. But their greatest asset is also their biggest challenge, and you can't miss it. Those magnificent horns mean you're going to need specialized, wider handling facilities, things like gates and chutes, to manage them safely.
Now let's jump to the complete other end of the size spectrum and talk about the Dexter. As the smallest European cattle breed, they are an absolute dream for anyone with a small homestead. They can do great on as little as 1 acre for a pair. And what's really cool is their dual-purpose value. You get both rich, high butter-fat milk and wonderfully marbled, family-sized cuts of beef. The only trade-off for all that compact efficiency? Well, it's a smaller animal, which just means you'll get a lower total amount of beef in the end. So this really makes the choice between our specialists super clear. The Texas Longhorn is the perfect answer if you've got tough, dry, or kind of marginal land and you just need a survivor that doesn't need a lot from you. The Dexter, on the other hand, is the ideal choice for someone with very limited space who wants that amazing benefit of getting both beef and milk from one compact, efficient animal.
Okay, on to our final pair, the powerhouses. These are bigger breeds, and they are designed for homesteaders whose main focus is just maximizing output, whether that's getting both milk and beef or just getting the highest possible amount of lean meat.
The Simmental is a true dual-purpose giant. Coming out of Switzerland, they are incredible milk producers, which in turn helps them raise really fast-growing, heavy calves. On top of that, they give you a high yield of flavorful, lean beef. But you gotta remember, a high-output machine needs high-octane fuel. Their big size and impressive production comes at a price. They have high nutritional demands and really need strong fences and better quality feed to reach their full potential. Now, if your goal is just pure maximum beef production, then you can stop looking. Meet the Charolais. This French breed is an absolute champion of feed conversion. They grow incredibly fast and produce these massive, high-yield carcasses with really lean, tender meat. They are the go-to if you just want to maximize the amount of beef in your freezer. The one major drawback, though, is that their incredible size also means their calves are large at birth, which demands very careful management during calving season to avoid any problems.
So when you look at these two powerhouses, the question you gotta ask yourself is pretty straightforward. Do I want versatile, dual-purpose power, getting both great beef and lots of milk from one animal? If the answer is yes, then Simmental is for you. Or is your focus on pure beef power, just maximizing lean meat yield with one of the fastest growing breeds out there? In that case, the Charolais is your animal.
Okay, we have covered a ton of ground. So now, let's bring all this information together. Let's build a simple framework to help you make the absolute best decision for your unique homestead.
This chart right here makes it really simple. We've organized it by your main goal. For example, are you just looking to supply your own family with beef? The table points you straight to Angus or Dexter. Is your top priority having gentle animals that are great for beginners? Well, then you should look at Hereford and Dexter. Just find your main objective on the left, and you'll see the best breeds to start your research with over on the right.
And for those of you who want to go even deeper, and I know you're out there, this is the full comparison chart. It breaks down all 6 breeds across all the key metrics, like how complex they are to raise, what resources they need, the outcomes you can expect, and their key advantages. Think of this as your at-a-glance guide for a side-by-side comparison of all the fine details.
Ultimately, choosing a breed is about so much more than just picking a cow. It's about finding an animal whose natural traits just align with your vision in your land. The right cattle won't feel like a chore. They're going to feel like a natural, living, breathing part of your homestead. So, after seeing all the options, the final question is really for you. Which breed is going to become that natural extension of your homestead?